Good morning. This is Abbie with I Am They. So excited for anyone that has joined me this morning. Couple disclaimers. I just woke up. This is the first speaking I've done all day. And yes, I have some coffee ready. So if you have coffee, get going on that stuff. This is the only way I'm making it through. You might hear my puppy. Sweet Etta James is my dog, and she is the protector of the household. So maybe she'll even make an appearance this morning. I don't know. Now my husband is taking her collar off so it doesn't jingle, but thanks, babe. Anyway, welcome. I see Emily is drinking some hot tea. That's good. Whatever it takes in the morning. You know, as a musician, we're not known as morning people. I'm an early to bed and late to rise person, however that works out. And, you know, going makeup free this morning. Did change out of my pajamas, so that's good. But thank you guys for joining us. This is really fun as a band. We're each taking a day this week to talk in the morning about the message of Faithful God, which is the single that we just put out, and it's also the title of our next album, which is coming out in October. So we wanted to let you guys know a little bit about the heart behind the album, where we're at, and the things that we've been learning that in our own lives that have led us to write an album called Faithful God. So I will say, first of all, I am they. Each of us are very different people, as you will undoubtedly see throughout this week. Matt and his wife Tori yesterday absolutely nailed it. They were so good with, they're both just really good speakers, really good Bible teachers. They're hilarious. They have adorable children running in and out of the shot. So I can't really compete with that, I gotta say. But definitely, if you didn't see yesterday's video, go back and watch that, because it was a really inspiring time. It was a really great, transparent talk from them about the faithfulness of God and how they see that throughout the Bible and how that applies in their lives. So, gosh, you guys are leaving so many comments. This is super sweet. But the difference in me is I am not a great public speaker. I don't consider myself a great Bible teacher, but I do know that I am most moved by people's stories. And I can't tell you how many times after a show people have come up to us and told us about something God has done in their lives. And those are the things that really stick with me. And those are the things that I think just really hit me at a different level, because you can tell when someone has gone through something and then is on the other side. You can see what God has done in their lives. And I think that's just extremely powerful. So I want to talk about how that's happened in my own life a little bit this morning, and how that led to my contribution to the song Faithful God. I always wanted to be a singer. I grew up singing in church with my mom, and when it came time to figure out what to do with my life, I thought I needed something more stable, and so I got a desk job, and I worked in offices for different companies for about 10 years. And I got married and was kind of checking off all those boxes of what it means to be an adult. And found that those things actually weren't fulfilling. They weren't core to who I was. And so my marriage fell apart, and I left my job, and I moved 7 hours away from anyone and anything that I knew to Nashville, and just kind of started my life over. And I was in a really low place, and I just remember thinking, where is God? in all of this. I mean, you guys, I didn't even want to see couples together. I would go to the grocery store and see people picking out food together and just thinking, like, what a joke. They're all faking it. No one's really happy. Everyone eventually is going to end up divorced and sad like myself. That's a narrative. That's a narrative we can put in our minds, I think. You can start to doubt the goodness of God when something takes a turn in your life that you weren't expecting. But man, I see the goodness of God in looking back through my story, because when I was at such a low place, God reminded me that he was still there. He's a God that fulfills his promises. He had put a dream in my heart to be a musician, and a dream in my heart to have a partner and be married. And he fulfilled on those things. So about a year after moving to Nashville, I got a random phone call saying that a band was looking for another member. And that band ended up being I Am They. And I remember thinking, I'm grabbing onto this thing and not looking back, because it just seemed like this was God kind of remembering, the desires of my heart and saying, I haven't forgotten you. And so I joined that band. It's been 5 years now, I think. And I also, about a year ago, got married. And I got to tell you, like, there were years I told all my friends I'm never getting married again. Marriage is a joke. Everyone's kidding themselves. It's not sustainable. But I was just in an unhappy one. And when I met my current partner and I got married, everything about marriage was redeemed for me. I realized that you could be happy and healthy and partnered. And it's been about a year now. We're just coming up on a year of being married. And my husband has 2 children from his previous marriage. So suddenly I went from being alone in Nashville and not knowing anyone, I guess not suddenly, over the course of 5 years, to having a husband and children and even have a dog. I own my first house for the first time ever. So the reason I'm telling you all these things is that I feel like God puts desires in our hearts for a reason, and even the tiny things don't go unnoticed or unseen, and that we can rely on the faithfulness of God. And I want to tell you, like, if you're in a moment of your life when things are looking bleak, I have been there. I've been to the bottom. And I really needed to hear people's encouraging stories in that time. How old are the kids? They're 11 and 13. And our dog is 6. I really needed to have some witness, some testimony, someone tell me this isn't how it's always going to be. And I grew up in church. I knew all the verses. I knew all the songs. I knew how I was supposed to feel about my future. But honestly, hearing stories of people who had come through something difficult to the other side, that was the thing that really gave me hope in the fact that God is faithful and he hears us. He knows the desires of our hearts. Recently, I was driving to the store and I saw a church with a verse written on their little sign out front that said, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And oh my gosh, of course. And that's the reason we can have faith in God. God does not change. The one thing that cannot change, in spite of all our life circumstances, is the character of God. And thankfully, the faithfulness of God does not depend on our worthiness or our readiness. God is who God is forever and does not change. So you guys, that was my story about God's faithfulness in my own life. I can't wait to hear about the songs of God's faithfulness in your lives. As we get back on the road, as we tour and we meet a bunch of you, I just really want to hear, I want to meet you all and hear after shows about what God has done in your lives, because I think these testimonies are powerful. So thank you guys so much. Stay tuned every morning this week to hear everybody else's stories and testimonies and devotionals about God's faithfulness. And definitely go listen to the song Faithful God. Love you guys. Bye.